While the Mario series has been known for being full of bright and upbeat locations, there have certainly been a lot of places that don't fall into this group. My name is Taylor, and welcome to Game Domain's 2020 Halloween Special. Last year, we counted down the top 10 spookiest video game characters. This year, we'll count down the top 10 creepiest Mario locations. The only games that are ineligible for this list are going to be the Luigi's Mansion games because literally the entire games could be on the list, and there really isn't one level to pinpoint necessarily. Some people also don't consider these games part of the Mario series. I do, but like I said, putting these game levels on the list wouldn't make much sense considering the entire game is supposed to be spooky. And lastly, yes, I'm aware that Dr. Wily did a similar list in 2018, but we're not going to have the same list, and I didn't even know about this video until I started writing this one. Starting off this list at number 10, we have Hotel Delfino. What was once a luxurious resort has now been taken over by booze. There are over there manta rays in the ground, which, how they got that, I have no idea. As you progress through the hotel, you encounter King Boo in the casino. Overall, this is actually a very nice place after you clear it out of booze, but before you do it, it isn't exactly a place you'd want to be. Now, at number 9, we have Holly Jolly Village from Mario & Luigi Partners in Time. This doesn't seem like a creepy place, as it was once a quiet, Christmas-themed village filled with friendly toads. But when you get there, it's anything but. There are craters in the ground, destroyed buildings, toads getting abducted by shroobs, and that includes the toad version of Santa himself. This is not a fun place to be in. Also, the music really helps this place be even more creepy. Just listen to this. It's not too often you hear a Christmas-sounding song in the minor key, but Holly Jolly Village's theme does it perfectly. Also, as an added bonus to this spot on the ranking, I'm going to include Toadwood Forest as well, since I had trouble deciding which one to include. Toadwood Forest contains toads who are trapped in trees having their power siphoned away, and one even dies in front of you. It's also a mysterious woodland area in a video game. How could it not be creepy? At number 8, we have Joke's End from Superstar Saga. This frozen palace has the same looping spooky music the entire time, and while I wish it wasn't like the same 16 notes or so on repeat, the music is still unsettling. You walk around this freezing cold castle, passing some pretty disturbing looking statues on your way, and constantly avoiding obstacles that try to kill you. There isn't much else to say about this place, but if you ever played Superstar Saga, you will know exactly why this is on the list. Number 7 is Count Bleck's Castle in Super Paper Mario. This realm is pretty much devoid of color, as the entire background is just black with white outlines. And that, with the unsettling music and abundance of enemies, and you get why this is on the list. Everything just seems so unpredictable, and you never feel safe. Perhaps the creepiest part is in 8-3, where you just run through a room of Dementios. They don't do anything, but there's just a huge crowd of them. This place just does not give off good vibes. At number 6, we have Merles Mansion from Super Paper Mario. Before you go into the mansion, you hear a very faint version of the mansion theme, which sounds pretty unsettling. But the landscape is nice. There's a beautiful orange sky, green grass. Well, that all changes when you walk in. You're greeted by 2 guard dogs. Okay, seems pretty strange. Nothing too bad yet, but as you progress through the level, you encounter a room with a button. When you press the button, the ceiling starts to come down. And oh yeah, it has spikes. This is incredibly easy to avoid, but still, it's pretty spooky that pressing a button leads to a ceiling that simultaneously tries to crush and impale you. When you get to chapter 2-3, you find out that their mansion is guilty of slave labor. Remember, this is a Mario game. The final level in this chapter 2-4 takes place in the basement. If that doesn't sound creepy enough, you have to watch this. Yeah, Mimi comes back and twists her head uncomfortably many times, and then becomes a giant spider that follows you around. I think it's pretty clear why Merles Mansion is on the list. At number 5, we have Ghostly Galaxy from the original Galaxy game. This is also where the Boo power-up is introduced. Part of why this level is so creepy is its theme, Waltz of the Boos. This piece of music is indeed just one of the many fantastic works for arguably the best soundtrack in video game history. Everything from the atmosphere to even one of the bosses, Bouldergeist, really does a great job to make this level as spooky as it can be for this game. I wouldn't say it's as creepy as something like Big Boo's Haunt, but it is certainly nothing to scoff at. Coming in at number 4, we have Deep Dark Galaxy from Mario Galaxy. For some reason, I did not like this galaxy as a kid because it always creeped me out, so that's part of why it's high on this list. Like with some other places I've mentioned on this list, the music really helps capture the vibe of this level. You land on this planet and it doesn't seem too bad. There are some toads there to keep you company, and it's on the beach. Now personally, I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. But still, beaches typically aren't creepy. Well, as you progress into the cave and dive deeper into the water, it gets darker and more spooky. You see urchins, mines, jellyfish, and then even some boos haunting the galaxy on an underground ghost ship. Coming in at number 3, we have our last place from Super Paper Mario, I Promise, the Underwear. The Underwear consists of 2 levels, Chapter 7-1 and 7-2. Also, this weird interlude level thing before it officially becomes a chapter. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the Underwear itself, I recommend our Lore Axe video on Super Paper Mario. But to summarize, it is meant to represent a place between heaven and hell. You see various monsters, dark backgrounds, hear unsettling music, and always have to be looking behind your shoulder. Perhaps the creepiest part is when you have to go into the lake, and as you go down, the music stops, and there are these bony hands trying to grab you. It's not very pleasant, to say the least. In Chapter 7-2, a lot of time is spent scaling these vertical rooms in complete darkness, and then talking to creepy-looking talking doors. This entire location really contrasts with the place you go next, the Over There, which is meant to be like heaven. So, at least you only have to be in this spooky place for a couple levels. At number 2, we have Twilight Town from the Thousand-Year Door. When you first enter Twilight Town, you hear a bell ring, and then a citizen turns into a pig. The town has been cursed where every time the bell rang, someone would be turned into a pig. You investigate this further as you go to the outskirts of the town, and eventually you find your way in a very dank-looking mansion. The mansion is filled with ghosts, but they aren't hostile, so there is that. As you progress through, you meet Dupless, who also has one of the best battle themes in all video games, and after the fight, he steals your identity. You end up getting your identity back after you type out his name. This chapter isn't perfect due to all the backtracking, but it would be hard to undermine how spooky this entire chapter is. And at number 1, we have Big Boo's Haunt, the original creepy Mario level in 3D. This is a surprise to literally no one. It was of course the first 3D Boo house in the Mario series, and did not disappoint. The haunting dark blue skies looms over you as you enter this giant mansion filled with ghosts. When you walk in, you're greeted with a bevy of doors, and both floors and most of these rooms will not calm your nerves. Perhaps the most famous scary thing in this world is the piano. I'm sure many of you, when you first played this as a kid, thought this was just a regular piano, only to go up to it and see its sharp teeth, and it frantically started to move around you, trying to attack you. Besides that, there is a room with coffins that can crush you, a library with books flying out, trying to hit you, and if you fall in certain rooms, you land in the basement that houses a carousel filled with boos trying to kill you. This is definitely not a relaxing place to be, as you never feel safe, and never know what will be behind the next door. We hope you enjoyed our opinionated list on the top 10 creepiest Mario locations. If you disagree, cool, let us know your list in the comments. This is just how the writer perceived these locations, so we ask that you keep it civil in the comment section. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and like this video, as it helps this video in the algorithm. We also have a Discord, which you can join, that has a lot of things to do, such as chatting with our staff members, other fans, talking in voice chat. We also have our own total drama themed competitions that go on if you're into that. Thank you for watching Game Domain, and have a great Halloween.